And the Funk Master, Aljamain Sterling, joins us now on SportsCenter, finally getting that long-awaited title shot. Aljamain, let's go back to after Henry Cejudo retired. You had won 4 in a row, felt like you deserved a title shot, but Petr Yan fought Jose Aldo instead. What was going through your mind watching and waiting?
It was a little bit of a frustrating time. I just wasn't sure what exactly was going to happen, how the cards would end up playing out. But a little frustrating to say the least. But, I had to kind of just do what I had to do to get myself one more chance to kind of give myself a little bit more of a budge forward to be the next guy in line for that title shot.
So then you beat Corey Sandhagen, and then you get the title shot against Yan set for December, and then he pulls out for personal reasons. And I know you've had some questions about that. Did you ever get any answers that satisfied you about the personal reasons involved?
No answers. What it seems like that was floating around from the internet. The MMA community is a very small one, so people talk, and this is why you got to kind of be very cautious of who you talk with. What I gathered was that he didn't have an adequate enough training camp, and I respect it in terms of, he wanted to make sure he was properly prepared for, I guess, a grappling style like mine or whatever you want to call it. I think the fight could really change just dictating and just depending on what happens in the fight, so I kind of just changed it up on the fly a little bit. So I do think he was a little bit concerned with that, and I think that's why he had to pull out of the fight, and they kind of kept it under wraps. But like I said, the MMA community is small, people talk, and it's not what I heard. So
okay, so now you finally get the shot. How much have the delays motivated you to get to this point?
It's all the same. The only thing that was a little frustrating was, my weight was coming down nicely, and I had to kind of figure out how much to pull back so I didn't lose all my gains from the training camp and from the beginning of training camp, and kind of sitting on the sidelines. I like to drink, I drink outside training camp, and, I like to have a little bit of a good time. That's my vice. So I had to make sure I didn't do too much, in moderation, and not train too hard, but still upkeep my body and making sure I'm still ready to go whenever they did decide to announce when that next fight was going to be.
Let's talk about the fight itself. You made no secret of your approach. You want to apply pressure. You said one takedown and it could be over. What's the thinking that goes into that approach?
I'm a dangerous man when I get anybody down, so that's my thinking process right there. And couple of days before the Corey Sandhagen fight, I was kicking around the idea of what I wanted to do in terms of how I was going to approach the fight when they announced our names and we walked to that center, we touched gloves. What was I going to do? Was I going to stand there and strike with a guy who was very good on the feet, very slick with his feints and his attacks? Or was I going to go back to my bread and butter, which got me to the show in the first place? And I'm kind of kicking around this idea as well. And it was on that day of the fight, I told my cornerman, I said, I'm just going to go out there and just bum rush him and see what happens and drag him down to the ground. And I think if I could get my hands locked, I can have good success, which is what I did. So I think my thought process is pretty much the same for this one. I know Jan's going to be expecting that. So I'm curious to see what his approach is going to be. Is he going to be hyper aggressive, trying to come forward, doing the pull out style and trying to time something? Or is he going to be a little bit more passive and kind of just waiting to time something, trying to counter me? But either way, I think the odds are in my favor. The fight hits the ground, all that knockout power, all those knockout punches, whatever, that goes out the window.
Saw some of your training on Instagram. Also saw some ice cream back a couple of weeks ago. That doesn't seem like that fits into into training camp. Is there some secret to ice cream for you?
Like I said, everything in moderation. If I had to do the sport where I had to cut everything out that I liked, I don't know if I would be doing this anymore or doing it as long. Maybe I would have gone up a weight class or something instead. But I think to do something, you still have to have some type of love and have some type of balance. And I think that's what it's all about. So having one cup of ice cream in comparison to a whole pint, if I didn't have a fight, I probably would have crushed that whole thing. But, obviously got to stay disciplined, got to stay the course, and just have a little bit, make me feel good, make me feel a little bit better, like I'm still enjoying and living my life. And I think that's what it's all about, having balance and not taking everything so serious. Sometimes people need to lighten up a little bit.
One of the ways you lighten up, actually two of the ways you lighten up, chess and golf, I understand. What do you take from those two things that help you in the octagon?
Well, golf is all about patience. You know, I did think I was going to come in and be really, really good right out of the gate, but
yeah, that
things didn't
doesn't
really
happen. That doesn't happen.
It's a very frustrating game.
Oh, yeah.
And when you miss, you hit a good one, and then you miss the next one, you're just like, you just want to take the stick and the golf club and snap it in half or smash it against the floor just like out of frustration. But it's a patient game. So you learn about that. I think in chess, it teaches you about patience as well. And it also teaches you about strategy and your approach, being aggressive, being more defensive, knowing when to strike, knowing how to set up your pieces. I learned how to play chess like mid-January. So for me, just learning how to play the game, I think I picked it up pretty quickly. And I have some people who also ask me if it's like kind of similar to my fight style. I would say it kind of is, you know, defensive and then going the offensive and picking my spots when to attack.
All right, Aljamain Sterling looking for the checkmate in the bantamweight championship Saturday night, part of a loaded card on UFC 259. Hey, man, we appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Check it out, the fights, UFC 259, baby. Let's go.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.